Welcome back to Joe Knows. We are continuing our study to become one, and we're in the second part of the book that I wrote, and we're talking about how to resolve conflict. So last time I talked to you about negative tendencies, things not to do. Today I want to move towards this talk is titled The Beauty of Connecting. How do you get to that place where you and the person you're in a relationship with, in the midst of a conflict, where you connect at the heart and you have that unbelievable feeling where you know you've understood, you've been understood, and you're able to connect and move on. Conflict is resolved. Okay, so I want to start out by saying that this is something that is worth putting a lot of energy and effort into. I'm trying to give you skills that you can learn. And when I do my counseling, I really work very closely with the couples. So here is what's of utmost importance in resolving a conflict quickly. Okay, it's that I believe it's when you are in the midst of a conflict and you have an equal desire to understand as well as be understood. I think you position yourself to be able to quickly resolve a conflict, regardless of what it is. Now, what I just said is easier said than done. Okay, so listen to what I'm saying. You must, in the midst of a conflict, I'm not talking about when everything is great and you're having a conversation. I'm talking about someone is upset. And in those moments, if you're the one that's upset, as you bring up what's upset you, and as the other person now is hearing what has upset their partner, if you usually move into a mode where you want to be understood. Hey, wait a second. No, I didn't. Or, hey, how could you do this to me? And you're now trying to communicate, but only wanting to be understood. And I would say this, that having an equal desire to understand how the other person is feeling and what they're thinking, as well as be understood, is going to help you have conflict in such a way that it will be productive. In other words, here's what a productive conflict resolution looks like. The conflict is addressed, it's understood, it's accepted, and it's forgiven, and it's thrown away. Okay? And I like to use this analogy. It's a little bit of a hard one, but you know when you have a bad cough, like in your chest is hurting, and you wanna cough, but the cough is not producing anything. It's just causing you to feel pain. So you cough and it's like, it hurts because it's so tight, but nothing comes out. Now, I'm not trying to create this negative imagery, but maybe it will help us, okay? You don't want to have that cough that doesn't produce, that doesn't eliminate any garbage. But when you are coughing and junk is coming out, you don't mind that cough. In fact, you like that cough because it makes you feel like you're getting rid of the junk. Okay? Oftentimes, people that can't resolve their conflicts, relationships where they can't resolve it, they stop having those conversations because, by the way, who wants a cough when all it does is produce pain and no junk comes out? And for many couples, they get to a place where they don't want to have the conflict. Even the aggressive confrontational person will learn to become passive if their conflicts never get resolved. And they just get to the point where they start to give up. And it's a very dangerous place for a marriage to be. So what I encourage couples to do is, first of all, don't make it harder by using the negative tactics. But when it comes to resolving conflict, you've got to try, and you have to be intentional. And I believe you definitely need to be a good-willed person. And probably, I think, need the Holy Spirit to be able to want to understand as much as you want to be understood when you're upset. That's not an easy thing, but if we can master that, then it's going to help us to resolve our problems, to have a cough that produces, the junk is out, and you don't have to cough anymore. You're not having the same cough over and over again with no result. So one of the best ways that I know of in having this kind of conflict resolution is when a couple uses something called the feelings formula. Okay, you've probably heard of this. It's pretty popular and it's very effective. But the feelings formula goes like this: hey, I need to talk to you. When you did this, it made me feel like, and then you would state how you felt. So I remember one time my wife and I had, it was quite a few years back. We were struggling to make ends meet financially on a monthly basis. There were 2 days left in the month, and I asked my wife, I said, honey, can you do me a favor? It was like the 29th, and there were 31 days in the month. I said, can you refrain, both of us, let's not spend money for the next 2 days, and we will be able to break even financially this month. And she said, absolutely no problem. And that was great. And I came home from work the next day, and I walked into my bedroom where my desk was, and on the desk was a receipt for a shirt that my wife had bought. And my wife had bought the shirt that afternoon, less than about 12 hours after she agreed to not make any more purchases. Now, what happened was, as an aggressive confrontational person, I became very angry. In fact, I have this, I call it a button. And it just hit my button, and I was ready to explode because I was going to attack. I was going to try and intellectualize, and I was going to want to win. But I remembered the material I'm talking to you about. And I said, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use the feelings formula. And I'm going to approach my wife with this. But here's what the feelings formula causes you to do. I had to think about what I was feeling. Now, when I saw the receipt and looked at the $20 shirt, I did not really know what I was feeling. All I knew is the button was pushed and I was angry. But now, if I was going to use the feelings formula, I had to take some time to figure out, what am I feeling? It took me 10, maybe 15 minutes, and I'm very perceptive of my feelings. And it took me that long to even know what I was thinking, what I was feeling. Why was I so upset? Why did I feel like my anger button, my aggression button had been pushed? And I narrowed it down to, there were two things. Number one, I felt like I had been disrespected. And number two, I felt like my wife was not being a team player when it came to handling the struggles of financial pressure in our marriage. That's what I felt. Now, it's really interesting because neither of those had anything to do with the $20 that was spent. See, it wasn't about money. But now I at least knew why I was upset, and I went out to hopefully have a productive cough. Well, I came out and I said, honey, what is this? And I held up the receipt, and she said, oh, it's a receipt for a shirt I bought today. I said, okay. I said, honey, did you remember last night I asked that we agreed not to spend money for the next 2 days? And at that moment, even though I hadn't attacked Tony, she began to get defensive. Because at that moment, she remembered. See, Tony forgot. She forgot that I asked her not to make the purchase. She went out, she bought the shirt, she came back, it was on sale, it was only $20, but it wasn't about money. And she began to preemptively get defensive. It was only $20, and it was on sale, and she started giving me all these defense things. And that would have just, listen, if I had come out attacking, I'd have said, what did you do? I told you not to spend money. You never listened to me. And she'd say, yes, I do. And I'd say, you're always spending money. She'd say, no, I don't. We don't have enough money to spend. We didn't. And it would have gotten ugly unnecessarily. But after she began to get by the way, the reason she got preemptively defensive is because we had a negative pattern in our relationship, where when I was upset, she knew she was when she did something wrong, she knew she was going to be attacked. And this time I let her down because I didn't attack her. And this is what I did. I said, honey, I said, just relax a second. I said, I know that I said, honey, when you spend money after agreeing that you won't, it makes me feel like you don't respect me, and like you're not a team player when it comes to our family finances. So what I did is I narrowed down what she did made me feel. Okay? I didn't say you don't respect me, and I didn't say you're not a team player. I said, when you spend money after you agree you won't, it makes me feel like you don't respect me, because that's how I felt, and it makes me feel like you're not a team player when it comes to our finances. It felt really good to say that because I got right to the root of the issue. My wife was cooking at the time. I was in the kitchen. She put the knife down she was using to cut the vegetables, and which I was glad for. And I'm just kidding about that because she's passive, non-confrontational. She walked around the counter, put her arms around me, hugged me, and said, "I'm so sorry that what I did made you feel like I don't respect you, and that I'm not a team player. I forgot that you asked me not to spend money. I will take the shirt back right away. Please forgive me for hurting you in this way." Now, that was one heck of a cough. And I just looked at her and I said, "Honey, I forgive you." I said, "You know what? It's only $20. Keep the shirt." It never was about money. It wasn't about the shirt. And that we connected in those moments. And that conflict was resolved, completely never to be brought up again. That's what the beauty of connecting gives us the opportunity to do. So I'm going to wrap up here for this session, and we'll come back and have one more session where we talk about how to truly resolve. So when a conflict has been properly resolved, how to handle it and the wording in such a way that that conflict will never ever be brought up again with emotion. We'll do that next time. God bless you. See you soon.